right before us. This is where we are now in the final stages of the tournament here. After this game, there will only be one more before we crown our champion. So here and now is the most important time of the rounds.
We're watching every single one of these teams begin to depart from the battle bus and look to drop at their respective points. It's always funny too when you see the players in between those brief segments, when they're pointing out which chest they actually want to prioritize on their loot paths depending on the bus pathway itself. But right now, Thomas, Bugha, they're trying to prioritize this drop and winning it. Big shots coming in already from afar, and that's going to be an assist there for Kanata, even if indirect. Bugha still shuttered up, but it's not going to be enough. Kanata and ITsRahiYT will yet again take over the racetrack. But again, the help from afar just did so much there for Kanata and ITsRahiYT.
This is all he wants. This is all he wants to say. He came to Copenhagen. He showed up to the grand finals. Who had the best score at the end of it? Right now, Kanata and ITsRahiYT clearly have been kings of the drop. But what can they do after this last game? They unfortunately were finished so soon. They have a chance now to at least fight for more earnings here today. There is still so much prizing on the line. The grand finals mean so much more than just first place. It's everything in between. It's your legacy. Recent Giannis getting into a fight here against Bugha. Pars, Bugha and Pars are about due for a turnaround fight. Finally, they get to find their win, their chance. Bugha and Pars for NA now gets put up a little bit of numbers.
A lot of NA representation so far to start things off with some of these more heavily contested areas, but as far north side of the map, Crude Harbor section is going to belong to Pars and Bugha. Definitely got to be feeling really good about that, especially when you consider in the way that this fight initially started. Almost looked as though Giannis and Reason were going to get the better end of things, but Pars doing a beautiful job to just displace the two, finding that side maneuver to really just approach them from a different attacking side and just cause so many issues.
Miro and Cooper playing so well right now. Miro's won 4 of his 5 FNCS titles without securing a single victory royale. He has been literally Mr. Consistent, but based off of eliminations and end-game runs, a lot of which he's done solo because he's lost his teammate, but I think he's found his counterpart in this recent major, because they've just been playing great Fortnite together.
Hey, first place might mean 65 placement points, but second place at 56 is not half bad by any means.
He's got 2 of those.
Especially when you're able to back-to-back them like what we saw from Miro earlier today in those solo clutch instances as well. Definitely not an easy position to be in. But a few teams who weren't involved with some of those early engagements, 50-50 drops, right now they're all just on the hunt to see where and when they can acquire their surge tag damage, because the surge strategies, they have been coming in hot all weekend long, but they are needed now more than ever here in Game 5.
Yeah, Brutal Bastion's an interesting spot because Pixie and Cheatin have been here. They have been here round after round, but haven't quite gotten into any of the fights. And also, what a great stat. Pixie and Cheatin are the first duo since Aqua and Nyrox in World Cup with back-to-back VRs at an in-person event at a LAN. And Aqua and Nyrox set history that weekend when they did that, only to go on and take it all away. But today, we see something completely different here. This story, the standings, of course, Cooper and Miro's their biggest task yet.
Well, Bryson Chubbs, if there's definitely a team that'd be looking to break a stat like that, they're certainly the ones to keep an eye out for. I mean, you heard the confidence in that post-game interview. We're simply better than everybody else here. And granted, the way that they've managed to creep up in the leaderboards might just be backing them up on that. Teeny and Nisha trying to pressure in onto Kitos and ITsRahiYT. A nice drop down from Teeny as well. Gonna make quick work of Kitos, and not much left for ITsRahiYT to do. Watching his teammate go down so early before you could really wrap around for the assist help.
How impressive so many of these first-time land appearance players have been, including Fnajin and Moneymaker here, as they continue to find their stride here, taking out Bobby. Where is Larpex? I think they got the full. No, instead they pushed everyone out, so just got a single elimination, but this is great.
Larpex just barely managing to squeeze away, but he's got to be careful which direction he chooses to run. A couple of other teams lurking just south of the Creaky compound, so depending on the angles that he approaches, some of those other teams might find some trouble. Muzz and Paper, all the while, they're just trying to chop out Shari right now. Moderately successful job. Paper looking to push from the front side now. Muzz, another wraparound, but Giras has finally managed to reunite with his duo. So Paper, Muzz definitely reconsidering exactly how aggressively they want to approach this, especially given Paper's loadout. They might need this refresh monster because it'd be nice to have some extra materials this early on.
Yeah, Paper just uncertain, making the call. Hey, is there someone up there? I'm not sure. That slows everything down now. Muzz tries to scout for the information, but doesn't find anything from it. That right there will tell them, okay, Giras and Shari on the run. There was no one there. Little pump fake is going to save them. Now we jump over to Sphinx and Foyo. We saw Moneymaker chasing Larpex, but look at that. It might have cost them now as they've run right into the solid wall that is Sphinx and Foyo, already a team that has taken a victory out here today. So confidence is definitely there.
Moneymaker, though, won't be able to find a shot just yet. Cancel that. Seems as though he did sneak one up onto Sphinx. A little pause here now. Fnine debating which augment he wants to select. Maybe if he can find one that might help him out in this circumstance. But Foyo and Sphinx, they seem as though they might run in to finish. But Moneymaker had started. Larpex not too far off from where this little skirmish is taking place, but again...
No, he got finished. It looks like Sphinx turned around and
finally managed to cut him off.
Immediate headshot. Yeah, immediate headshot right as you said that. Sphinx finds an elimination, takes him out. Well, there it is. That's 4 points. We like that.
From the frying pan into the fire, essentially, at that point. But usually how the story goes whenever players are left in those solo situations. Teeny and Misha, though, how many times have we seen this one before? A curious place to be, though. May or may not work out in their favor, but their patience could also play off big.
They're in enemy builds right now as well. I think they're onto something. I think they believe there might be a reboot card here or something worth holding out that will tempt these players to get closer to them. Zagu and Peppo are clearly rummaging around right now trying to find something. So for Misha and Teeny, the cheeky smile on his face right here. They're definitely cooking something up.
Man, bro is looking devious in that player cam. I mean, you got the fingers crossed. He is waiting to see if he can scoop something up here. For Bryson Chubbs, they've got a different nature of attack. One that's a little bit more towards leading the charge, so to say. Here over at Shady Stilts, just trying to get some good utilization out of the mud that's available for some faster rotations. See if maybe they might run into any teams that they could acquire some surge tags on as well. And I've seen quite a few teams sort of hovering around the edge of that north side of the map, just trying to gauge whether or not investing into a full rotation would be worthwhile, given some of the elevation that comes with it. It's always nice when you can get a good aerial view of the lobby.
Definitely that information download is so important, especially in this game. Stacey and Potosi on the move right now, trying to get situated. Weapons cache for them, but Teeny, Misha, the ambush finally pays off. They catch Peppo out in the open and then come crashing on in with a rocket ram. What a way to start this one off. Very explosive, very aggressive. Misha taking a wall by himself, no builds. What in the world is going on right now? He says, oh, that's wood. I like that. That's weak. Gets right inside. Zagu has to clutch this one out right now. His teammate's hurt. Peppo's on the run. In goes Teeny. Zagu puts up the numbers, though, but Misha finishes the job and clutches out for Teeny.
And that was massive as well for Teeny and Misha, because we saw them waiting for so long. They had practically, well, they had essentially no builds to work with. because of the fact that they spent so much time waiting. So they needed those materials. But I guess you can just let other teams do the work for you if you're able to find the eliminations.
Not looking good right now for cheating, though. Very low on HP. Trying to decide, man, what do I do with my augments? More importantly, do I utilize these slab juices now? Or should I wait? Pixie, in the meanwhile, trying to scavenge around here, seeing what he can find as he's got more health to spare. The problem is Bugha is up on the hill. Duos are in the vicinity, so there it is. It was all worth it. He gets a battle for this, and they should get rewarded here shortly with everything they need. Nice. It's going to bounce them right back into this. Our second place runners, Pixie and Cheatin', have a chance now to bounce back.
That was definitely the care package that they needed more than anything else right now. I mean, we saw just how down low Cheatin' was starting to look with some of those builds. Pink and Vico, on the other hand, a team that's doing relatively well as far as resources are concerned. But now the question is whether or not they'll get a chance to fully utilize them, because as they make this rotation through Frenzy Fields, seems as though they've managed to spot out another team on the horizon. Whether or not they're aware of the fact that it's Queasy and Veno is a different story entirely, but given the circumstances and where both of these teams are rotating out of, it wouldn't be unlikely for Pink to be aware of the fact that it might be Queasy and Veno rotating out from Kinjitsu.
Yeah, and Kami Aseti right there at the Frenzy as well, just to the left, so a lot of danger in that area. Meanwhile, dead center, Acorn and Cold stick to their tried and true strategy. Worked last game. Up until now, it's been a little bit of a middling performance, but it only took one to jump them right back into the top 10. Had it not been for Cooper and Miro's ridiculous run, I mean, it would be that much closer inside the top 10. But the conversation's surely skewed right now up towards the top. But Acorn and Cold jumped into it. Queasy and Vino have as well. Tasting and Mustache now have room to make their way into these conversations too, taking down Alec and Worthy there. Nicely done. They have the zone more or less not too far, so they'll be balling out here shortly.
Can't say I'm surprised to see Mustache and Tayson trying to get a little bit more aggressive into the action here, understanding that they need to make up some points to keep themselves in the conversation of that top 10, top 5 territory. And well played here by Tayson and Mustache as well, just staying so close together here as they charge Oshi's last remaining hope. Unfortunately for Alex and Worthy, they'll have to wait for our final match to make another debut, see whether or not they can catapult themselves a little bit further up the leaderboards. But look at this, Rift Island. We've been seeing a decent amount of action pick up as the games go on here. Axforce immediately getting lit up, trying to farm some materials off the roof of this big building here on Rift Island. Unfortunately for him, he's got Rubab Kabam toss him a couple of heals, but at the same time, Misha, Teeny, they managed to fly right in to join the heart of the action here. Axforce and Robot might not get this as freely as they initially believed.
I love this because Teeny and Misha, these last couple of games have just been menaces. Pushing everyone, playing for Rift Island. They're trying to come back. They're trying to make this money right now. And they're not willing to give it up without a fight. And that's what it's all about. This is exactly what players fear the most, though. Rift Island being highly contested like this. When teams are desperate to jump up the standings, Misha and Teeny are doing it here and now. They got to get in. They got to get closer, or they'll end up giving it away.
Seems as though Misha and Teeny may be hoping that they can try and catch Axforce and Robob on the rotation out, especially if some other duos try to get involved here. But Axforce and Robob, these guys aren't the only ones going up top. But a massive benefit here because Pixie, it's Trulex, it's Chicho running Pixie down, and they find the knock. Trulex gonna look for the finish. Certain that he eliminates Pixie in the process there, and yeah, it's just Cheatin' trying to hold it down by his Losum, but he's locked outside the zone. He's gotta find a way to rotate in, but the edge is being so well guarded right now.
Surely has to do with a little bit of greed. They were doing pretty much just fine, but trying to go in there to see what they can find out, and they just get met with a team. Not what you expect at all. Cheating out, thinking the same thing. Shows himself for a second, and there were players waiting. Bugha and Threats don't drop a beat there. The damage was catastrophic. Cheating now has to see if he can pick up his teammate's reboot card and pick him up, but you're gonna have teams like Bugha and Threats just looking in, trying to see if they can get points gifted to them.
I mean, even if Cheatin does get the reboot ban at this point, just how beneficial is it really for himself and Pixie? You have to imagine that Bugha and Threats haven't really strayed too far from their initial position. They recognize the fact that Cheatin is a solo. They're still hanging out midway between Cheatin, Pixie, and where they need to be as far as the zone is concerned. They might just be able to shoot down Pixie before he even gets a chance to land. Pixie doing his best to try and juke inside the air, and well, it does seem as though Bugha and Threats have started to move off now, recognizing that they need to keep pushing forward. But Cheatin and Pixie, they've got a lot of ground to cover.
Does seem like trouble in paradise right now as Misha's turning online. Queasy possibly has fallen as well. Big trades happening everywhere.
It's going to be Queasy and Mano that have actually met their fate here in game number 5. They'll have to wait it out as well for the battle bus to depart in match number 6. And who better to be the one to possibly shut him down? It's Bastroki and Kylie applying so much pressure. Queasy and Mano, they were in 7th place here. And now they've got to sit and wait to see where this leaves them on the leaderboard by the time it gets to the completion of game number 5. And that's going to be all it takes. Seti and Cammy sure to have seen that one light up in the elimination feed and possibly got a little pep in their step for it.
Yeah, the conversation now for Cammy and Seti is surely, can they start to close this gap and rocket their way on up to first place? They do have a little bit more work to do. Pink and Vico are still up. Cheatin obviously is brought back into the game with Pixie here. This competition still standing strong. Miro and Cooper, we get to touch base with them. This hasn't changed for them. Miro and Cooper are struggling in the mid game here, but Pixie and Cheatin are as well. Except one might say Pixie and Cheatin, much worse situation as they were finished off before they can get to safety due to the hands of Threats and Bugha once again, finding them there on the Storm's edge, waiting for them.
You could just tell that Bugha and Threats were not going to let that one go easy. And now Miro, Cooper, they've just got to continue to try and play things out as cool, calm, and collected as ever before. Behind them, recognizing the fact that they might have some pressure on their backsides. Miro trying to be attentive towards how they continue to rotate in. Couple of shots, some damage being applied. Cooper, though, pausing only for a moment. Slight regroup needed. Nutty, though, taking a massive shot. The shields are correct. Some well-placed shots there from Cooper. And that's going to be enough to put a pause to Brazilian duo's pressure points.
Taco, will we be calling this early? Will we be calling the Global Championship early? It just might become mathematically impossible if Cooper and Miro have their run right now. Their closest competition is so far away at this point. Cammy and Seti have a chance now to keep this tournament run alive, but the trophy is so close.
Maintaining nerves is easily one of the most difficult aspects of being inside of this sort of situation here, especially when you look at the likes of Cooper, who again, relatively fresh as far as experience is concerned, but when he's got such a veteran like Miro by his side, it's no wonder they've done an excellent job so far in maintaining their momentum and maintaining their mental as well. But whether or not other teams are going to get a chance to play spoiler, we'll have to wait and see, because right now, as things continue to evolve, zone continuing to pull just across Rumble Ruins at this point, and all these other teams to the north side now starting to trickle their way back in. We have to remember, Rumble Ruins, that's also Miro and Cooper's starting point.
Yeah, this is home territory, this is hometown, and they're looking to do just that. But everyone's hurt here, but Miro and Cooper finish the job. They get another set of eliminations, the refresh that they needed. And this has been the story game after game. They're hurt. They need an elimination. They need a refresh, and they actually find it. One of the few duos that can legitimately just do it.
This is starting to feel a little bit too good to be true almost. I mean, if I'm Miro and Cooper, I almost want to panic because it's like, I can't believe that I just keep finding the most perfect refreshes of all time. I mean, Cooper, practically max mats. Miro, definitely in a good spot. And the fact that they have so many materials now split between them.
Yep.
That they have so much familiarity as well in this POI specifically because it's their initial drop. All they got to do is try to continue playing things through. You can see Miro making a push towards the high ground as well.
That's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking they want to play for height right here and close this chapter out, but no. Things start to change. Teams start to rocket ram on up. Destruction is ever so near. Head nearby, you can hear the shots. Miro makes the call out. This guy's hurt. I'm going for it. I can use these materials. Finds the wood build, but no, another team below him. Has to back up now. For a moment there, it was almost all over. Shots come in again. This time, Hen claps back for a little bit. And it is getting very, very dangerous here. Bryce and Chubbs are still standing. Vico and Pink still in this as well.
Decent discipline, though, from Miro to not try and push that situation any further. He knew that Cooper was simply too far away to actually play backup, and they don't want to necessarily forfeit this positioning. Storm Surge actually is going to be Miro and Cooper's best friend. Another 4 points to be added in the elimination process. I don't think it gets much better than that.
I think he knows that right now, so we'll see if he ends up going for the loop. But Vico and Pink have a lot to do, a lot of work to put in right now, and a long rotate to make here. Almost no material. They would love a refresh and hopefully a rocket ramp to get on out of here because this is going up and over. The last two terrains have been very difficult to traverse here. And they have a crash pad, so off they go. Up they go. Miro's out. Rocket ram in full effect here. Lands him on the side. Cooper's here to meet with them, but a team's behind them. Good block there. Keeps him up for a moment. Now, looking for the refresh. It's Seti here in front of him. So close, yet so far. Meanwhile, Cammy's on height, holding things down as Duo meets with them. The big heels come out. They need a bounce back. They need these wins.
Cammy and Seti might be at the very top for the time being, but just across the way, it's Kanata, it's Agers. These zones continuing to force these players pressing forward. Well played, though, by Miro and Cooper, and that secondary height layer after the rocket ram ended. Not the flight path he was hoping for, but for Bryce, man, talk about a tag path. Those are some massive shots that he just landed. Gonna buy him a good chunk of time as well to just pop this big shield potion. Make sure that he has 100 full shields, because he's going to need every bit of it.
For Bryce, this is worth hundreds of thousands of dollars if he can hold on. Vico in Pink as well. Top 5 is definitely the sweet spot to be in. And any higher, you're extremely happy, but Vico by himself on the move right now. Looking to swing his way around. 5 builds, teams in front, no one behind. Make that 3 now. Lurking. Can he get a refresher? Can he find a player? Sees one to his right. No one's behind them playing so smart right now. Miro comes dashing through here into another end game. It's all placement points from here.
Cooper as well, landing just slightly further apart from his duo, but they found their moment. Good chop of the builds there onto Chicho. Gonna displace him momentarily. Miro nearly managing to collect in the process. Trulix now forced to rocket ram away. Cooper, Miro finally getting a chance to reunite here, but they've got to keep pressing forward. They can't take a moment to pause or relax. So many players
Cooper
in.
Turns around, burns down Vico, the savior of his run. He's still on fire here. Cooper now by himself, trapped in the storm, and he falls inside the top 15. Bryce is still up as well. Bryce wants more. He needs more.
If Bryce and Bryce can manage to clutch it out as a solo, Victory Royale might be within his reach here. Crash pad forward, the roaming redeploy gonna get him straight to the front side of the zone. Polarized in the box underneath him. Bryce, though, not taking a second to pause. He just wants to look for a closing shot. If he can find some more materials to work with, he might just be able to make it happen, but it's Agers now on height, pressing up. He loses Kanata, though, in the process. Finds Pars, though, in the middle of it. A massive shot, but he falls to his demise.
Ran out of builds there in the moment. The win could have been theirs, too. But now, back onto the hands of Bryce here, our last standing player inside the top 5, still trying to make a run for it. Swinging his way between builds. He's trying to get caught up and gets trapped in the Fly's web there. The Spider's web, top 10 now. Threats in Bugha, threats in this. Oh my gosh, so many solos still standing here.
We've seen this once already from Threats this weekend, though. Can he make it happen again is the real question we have to ask. Next is Threats hiding just above the water's edge. Recognizes plays in the water, and he strikes and he finds it. That's going to be polarized run. Come to an end. Threats on the other hand, refresh on the builds, exactly what he needed. All of that brick just going to continue to protect him all the longer.
Lucy's still in this. Give it up for Lucy, Copenhagen. He's finally got a chance here to make some more. 5 elims, 9 total for the team. He still has builds. Threats is looking very healthy, but there's MK Papa who's gonna fall there. There's the player on high ground. Okay, so every team's on a different layer. He's gotta look around here. Lucy needs to make a big decision. Find Shalom. This is Asia, but no! Clap from behind. Threats does not let the beat drop at all. And up he goes, and now he knows it's his chance here, but no, he falls.